Hello and welcome to another video. And this week's 7 on Sunday is going to put a spotlight on Black History Month, and I especially want to focus on Black romance authors, which I'm really excited about this list. I was going through and I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to have enough, but I do, and I'm quite excited to talk to you about these books. So right off the bat, I'm gonna go with Jack Harbin. He wrote Meet Cute Club, which is one of my favorite romance books ever. It is this cute book about these two guys who like meet in a bookstore. One of the guys works at the bookstore and the other guy hosts this book club. They kind of always have this like banter at the bookstore, and then one day the guy from the bookstore shows up at the book club. It goes from there, and there's like a huge gesture at the end, and I really enjoyed it. Two other books by Jack Harbin that I really liked are two of the books from his Encounters series, which is The Babysitter and The Brother. Those are the two books I'd like to mention from Jack Harbin. The next Black romance author I want to talk about is one that I actually read quite recently, and that is Katherine Jackson. She wrote From Scratch, which is a cute little book about a polyamorous couple. No, they're not a couple. Polyamorous relationship between the fire chief, the policeman, and the baker from this small town called Seaport. And it was so good, guys. Let me tell you, that is a book you need to pick up. It's on Kindle Unlimited. I've heard that Katherine Jackson has other novels about polyamory, but they're not on Kindle Unlimited, so I haven't gotten to them yet. But I know her, I think it's Neighborly. I've heard good things about Neighborly, so that's another one. Another author that I have read from is Tasha L. Harrison. She wrote Liquor in Laundry. This was a beautiful book about a plus size girl, and I loved it. I love how there's plus size people coming to romances. Like, I know they've always been in romances, but I'm finally finding them. And this is kind of like second chance / best friend's brother, because they had like one night back in the day. Fast forward to now, and the guy who is a football hero comes back, and we're like, yo, like, what's up? I read this at the same time I was reading Birthday Shot, which is another second chance / best friend's brother. No, brother's best friend. So I kind of got them mixed up in my head, but I'll talk about Birthday Shot in a second. I also have A Taste of Her Own Medicine by Tasha L. Harrison on my TBR, so hopefully I'll get to that soon. But that is that's an interracial couple. I really like the cover for it. Yeah. Oh, Alexa Martin. She wrote the Intercepted series. I've read the first 2 books in it, and I really loved those 2 books. I need to get to the third one, because I think it's actually about the woman who owns the club. Excuse you. Another author I want to talk about is Naima Simone. I think she's actually the first Black romance author I ever read from. I read Sin and Ink and Grading Curves. I think she also wrote the Lick series too. I've only read the first one in that series. I read that for Smartathon a couple years ago, actually. But yes, Naima Simone. I think what I've read from her, though, they're interracial, or I don't even know if they're both heroes are Black, but Naima Simone is definitely a Black author. And she writes really good romance, so that is another author you really should pick up. Talia Hibbert, who is the queen of romance. I've only read Get a Life, Chloe Brown, but anyone I know, everyone I know, has talked about Talia Hibbert, whether it be her like Get a Life, Chloe Brown, or any of her like romance novels that have not been published traditionally. But Get a Life, Chloe Brown is really good, and it had not only like diverse representation. It also had chronic illness representation. And then last but not least, who is becoming one of my favorite authors, like favorite romance authors, no, not becoming, she probably is. She is up there with Katie Rubbard, and that is Rilzy Adams. She wrote Go Deep, which blew my mind. Like, I did not realize like romance books could be like that, and it was beautiful. That is a friends to lovers book. So good. I think it's the one book that put me into labor back in July. That is how I describe Go Deep. It put me into labor. It was so good. I also read her birthday shot, which I talked about earlier, and then most recently I read 12 Dates of Christmas, which is actually the first book in the Love on the Rocks series, which birthday shot is like number 4, I think. Go Deep is friends to lovers, and it is about this girl who is a romance author, but all her books are kind of flopping because she doesn't have any romance in her life. So she asks her best friend to help her get her juju back. And then you've got Birthday Shot, which is about this one girl who she's on like the island of Antigua, which is one of the Caribbean islands, and she is a lifestyle vlogger, and she talks about, excuse me, can you not? She has been in love with her brother's best friend for a very long time, and he has come back to the island and has been like, hey girl, what's up? And that was so good. I really loved it. And then 12 Dates of Christmas is the first one, and it is about Z and Rashad, and it was so good. They've been best friends for ages, right? And then they started like back in their like early 20s. They become friends with benefits, but then Z is like, I think I'm catching feels, so I'm gonna cut you off, and then stops talking to him like out of the blue. And now it's like 6 years later, and she's working at the immigration office at the airport, and he walks in and he's like, yo, like, I'm back. And she's like, you are back. And it was so good. Like, it's just so much angst because she's like, no, they're best friends, like we can't be lovers. But then he's like, why can't we be both? Why can't we just be in a relationship? And then she goes, because it just doesn't make sense, like it'll ruin things. And he's like, girl, you've already ruined it. And so he's like, I propose I take you on 12 dates because it's Christmas. And it was so good. Those are my top 7 black romance authors that I think that you should pick up, and they're just so good. I cannot wait to read more by Katherine Jackson, her Seaport series, and Rilzy Adams' Love on the Rocks. Yes. But yes, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you want to see more by me. Also, did you see my new intro? That was by Azza All Booked. Azza's All Booked on Twitter. I'll link her down below. She does commissions, and I just really, really love it. I think it definitely encompasses me. But yes, thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you have a really good rest of your day. Bye!